Hello everyone. In this tutorial we will visit the concept of manufacturing parkours and see its implementation in adekoCAM. You will also recognize quite a number of user interface improvements for old functions as well as newly added ones. Let's get started with the parkours. Manufacturers usually have multiple machines for different operations such as sizing, surface processing, drilling, vertical and side holes, etc. And these machines form multiple possible manufacturing pathways with different performance metrics. Say you have 5 machines and call them A, B, C, D and E, which are located as you can see on the screen. These 5 machines might easily form multiple production lines, or parkours as we call them in adekoCAM, each of which would be needed for some certain group of important designs to be manufactured. And the users would also like to easily select which one of these production lines or parkours are to be used for the current order without changing anything in the procedures. adekoCAM allows us to maintain multiple parkours in which arbitrary number of procedures can reside. Parkour Selector is at the top, listing available ones as Roman numerals. We can enable or disable them individually by clicking on them. Multiple parkours can be activated at the same time or none at all. When a parkour is enabled, it gets highlighted together with all the parkour displays of all the procedures or equivalently machines on that parkour. We can also sort them by their parkour number for easy grouping. Right below the Parkour Selector, we have the list of procedures with their name and the machine name to which they correspond. The Roman numeral on the left represents on which parkour the specific procedure is, and it can be changed by clicking on it and selecting one of the available parkour. The highlighted parkour numbers represent those that are enabled. Just as an example, let's move this machine from where it is and place it in another parkour. Now if we enable the parkour and hit Calculate and See Code button, the code for this machine will also be generated. When a parkour or a group of them is activated, and of course Generate and See Code buttons hit, adekoCAM generates machine code only for those machines which are on the active parkours. Therefore, by turning on and off already configured procedures, one can easily switch between parkours, ultimately making it easy to balance the load on different production lines. One of our previous tutorials, namely working with procedures, covers the details of procedure setup, and let's not repeat it here, but I'd like to point out a few interface improvements as I mentioned earlier. Since now multiple procedures can be active at the same time, the toolpath view would potentially be very crowded as it would show all the toolpaths for all the machines at the same time. Therefore, we have the eye on each procedure to limit the display to show toolpaths of only one procedure at a time, the one which has the eye enabled. Right-click on the procedure to go in and see the layers. Each procedure corresponds to a machine, so the machine selector is moved here. Part Plate Side Operation Selector is also here. They have the same functionality as before, but now they just occupy less space on screen. Single Layer Selector button imports one single layer at a time, and the next one to it, the one starts with plus, shows the number of layers which are not imported yet. If it is not 0, then I can click on it to import all at once. To change their colors at once, I can hit this colored button. To enable and disable layers, I can click on the color icon. To change the color of an individual layer, I can right-click on the layer and use the context menu. Calculate Toolpath, Generate and See Code, and Save and See Code buttons are now cumulative from left to right. That is, if I hit the rightmost button, it automatically hits the first and second one for me and then performs the save, so we can work with less number of clicks. To go back to the list of procedures, I need to click on Procedures here. The green and yellow dots at the beginning of each procedure show where these configurations are saved at. Those marked yellow are saved in adekoCAM's root and will be updated next time you update your adekoCAM. However, those marked green are saved in your Documents folder or wherever you showed during installation, and they won't be touched in the next update. You'll see these dots in your Tools and Machine Libraries, Material Library, Doors and Product Libraries, and also in your Labor Library. You can also see the details of a part on the screen by first clicking on this button here on the right top and then right-click on a part. We also have updated the context menu here. Right-click on the NC code to see it. Be careful, as the NC code viewer shows only the first 100 lines of code, and make sure you select Display All before sending your NC code for simulation, as the simulator receives what you see here. If the first 100 lines are visible, your simulation will perform simulation on the first 100 lines only. In this tutorial, we visited adekoCAM's Parkour implementation and how to utilize multiple production lines from within a single application. We also mentioned its simplified user interface. Thanks for your attention.